I'm HazyChaos.
And I'm Liz Gomez, also known as Hazy.
And you're listening to Scary Encounters with HazyChaos,
a podcast where we talk to some of our favorite bands and artists
as they share scary encounters they've experienced and live to tell. This episode of Scary Encounters is brought to you by
Anchor, podcasting made easy, anchor.fm.
Mortis Vivendi, the last authentic music brand dedicated to helping musicians and promoting music. MortisVivendi.com.
HJ Tidy, Night Terror Publishing. Step into the bizarre world of HJ Tidy, who is committed to introducing his readers to some of the most unusual, darker variety of true stories. NightTerrorPub.com.
Sayasha Gianna, cosmic shaman, psychic medium, multidimensional healer, animal whisperer, teacher of empaths, healers, and starseeds. Are your encounters hitting too close to home? Contact Sayasha Gianna. Patreon.com/Sayasha.
Voided, spooky artist who offers hand-painted, one-of-a-kind items, spooky pins, prints, stickers, and more. Lost in a void of what is dead. Voided.com.
This is VYAL, and you're listening to Scary Encounters with HazyChaos.
Hey, I'm HazyChaos.
And I'm Hazy.
And today we're here with VYAL, the Los Angeles artist. Yes. Thank you.
Yay.
You welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's an honor to have you.
I mean, actually, you guys, it's nice for you to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We walked in here and it was just like, oh man, I can't believe I'm here. It's seeing your artwork everywhere. Like,
All right on.
yeah, man, I followed your artwork for a while now, and I've just always been impressed. I showed my brother. I was like, dude, check this guy out.
All right on.
Yeah, and I was get so excited. Like, I think we were, I don't know how long ago, but we were in the LA Art District near Bar 81?
82.
82.
Yeah.
And I believe your artwork at the time, or if it's still there, it was all over that wall.
Yeah, it's still there.
I was like, dude, I know that guy.
For the people listening, we're actually here in his art studio, and we're here because it is haunted.
It
Correct.
is. It is.
We'll
the
get
building itself is haunted.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that later, but I just want to let the people know what you meant by nice having you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we've only done episodes off location one other time. This is our second time.
I think it was just episode 33 with Sayasha.
Yeah, we went to the Biltmore Hotel.
Ooh, wow.
It was pretty crazy.
Was it?
Yes, it was nuts. But anyways, we're really excited to be here. It is an honor, like Liz said.
Thank you guys.
You're very
That's
well known in this
awesome.
industry and in the city.
Oh, right on.
It's everywhere.
I guess so.
You're so humble and modest. You're so cute.
I know. Thank you. I just hide. I just like hide in here. My friend calls it the bell tower, and he calls me Quasi.
Oh my God.
'Cause he
With
says
your
that
with
I'm
your
gonna-
window right here looking
Yeah,
over the
that
city.
I'm gonna throw hot wax on people if they try to come up here.
I love it.
I'm like, where do I stand? Outside.
Oh. For the people listening, VYAL, let them know what you do. What do you do in the industry?
I'm a mural painter, graffiti artist. I've always been into kind of the darker side of things, music-wise and art-wise, and even little dabbling in magic and stuff like that. And, you know, just always kind of like attracted to all of that stuff, horror movies and scaring myself and my brother, you know, being a huge influence in a lot of that. And my nephew, David, who's also kind of similar to us with just loving to be scared or loving to scare people.
So you guys are attracted to the darkness.
To the darkness. But I'm also dark-skinned, so then...
Me too. Indigenous, correct?
Yes, native.
That's dope.
Yeah, two different nations.
And
Zuni and Raramuri.
love it. Whereabouts?
Zuni's from like the New Mexico area, and Raramuri is like Chihuahua.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm
I
all
love it.
about the we didn't cross the border crossed us.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because that kind of thinking, you would think a lot of like some natives kind of believe that still. Like they do think like that side of the border is that side of the border and it has nothing to do with here. But it's like, it's just a man-made fucking line in the road. And,
Right.
And, from North America to South America, everyone's related.
So everything you said, what'd you say right now?
What?
You are dark? Your skin's dark?
My skin's dark. It was very troubling when I was trying to be like super, super goth. Plus working in the sun a lot, you stay brown. I stay brown, homie.
Hey, it works for you. You look good.
Thank you.
I stay brown.
I was going to say my tan isn't so friendly to me.
Oh, I got a farmer tan. Don't trip.
Do you?
Yeah.
Let's see it. I'm just kidding.
Oh, damn.
I got
Here we
those
go. Let's do it.
Right? I love it. Well, where can the people find your work or see your work? Everywhere in LA. Literally.
All you have to do is just step outside.
Yeah, I don't know, a couple of different places.
Yeah.
The Arts District, of course, and on the West Side, or even in Riverside, and
Oh,
out on Dene Reservation, or up in Sacramento, or
dang.
yeah.
I feel like your style's very distinct. All the eyeballs and the shading and the stroke technique and the everything, the contrast. It's just it's fucking perfect.
Yeah, the
Thank
way
you.
they all pop too. I just saw recently that you did you posted some of your work on a pothole.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit looks so sick. What is
Yeah,
it?
the manhole.
Manhole.
Yeah, the
Did I say
manhole.
pothole?
Pothole, manhole.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
butthole.
manhole, butthole.
Yeah. That's why I saw
I
it.
said the butthole.
I said butthole.
I didn't say butthole. I just repeated what you said.
You were thinking it.
You said it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I really like kind of like just approaching things differently. I don't know. I daydream a lot and I zone out a lot, and then things like that will like appear. Like, and to me, they don't seem like super crazy or they kind of seem more obvious. But I know that majority of people aren't thinking like, oh, that looks like an eye or that looks like a face. But for me, like I see faces and eyes and everything, and a lot of different things all the time.
When did you first discover this style?
I don't know. It's been a minute. Like it was a work in progress. Of course, I always feel like I'm a work in progress and still exploring and figuring things out. The medium was the most challenging part because we didn't at the time that I was started painting. It wasn't meant for art. It was just like shitty cans of paint that you could find, and even the good paint that we were using wasn't that great for it. Although there were artists that were doing like some really amazing shit, like my homie Slick. Who was once he still is like a really inspirational person with that type of work. But also he was like a teacher without even knowing, like he would paint walls and then he would just kind of take it in as to what he did and try to figure it out. And he was just super ahead of everybody. I'm talking like late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, he sounds like quite the inspiration. They say that you are who you hang out with. So,
Yeah.
if you're hanging out with someone you really admire, you start picking up and they start mentoring you. And, that's really cool to hear.
So today I'm short and cute. Finally.
I was just going to ask, can we hang out with you more? Because I would love to be like you. I
No, you
would.
won't.
I would just love to be as tall as like to your shoulder, at least.
I'm literally the opposite. I'm short and like white looking, even though I'm indigenous too. I'm
Oh,
native
yeah?
too, but we're like total opposite.
Yin and yang,
Yeah.
day and night.
There we go. Ebony
69.
and Ivory. Say, simmer down.
I knew I was going to get there before you.
I mean, shit. We're already comfortable. I've only met you. When did we meet? Like 10 minutes ago?
At least 20.
At least.
It was before. It was
I
before
mean-
It was before the fog machine was warmed up.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He even put a fog machine on, like trying to get all like steamy in here.
Dude, I was gonna play. I don't know, some like old horror movie music to just get romantic.
Ah, that is pretty romantic if you ask me. But you did mention horror movies. What is your favorite scary movie?
That's a difficult one.
Like ultimate. Or even a
Ultimate?
top 3.
I don't know, man. I don't want to say that right now. It's like so permanent.
Or how about this? Is there a horror movie that really inspired one of your art pieces recently?
What movie really inspires my way of thinking is The Shining. And I just wish I was a lady in the bathtub for all eternity.
You can pull it off.
When I first met you, I was like, he reminds me of somebody. And that's who it is.
Oh, wait till I get naked.
So we got to go.
Or do we?
Well, would you look at the time?
Tired. This is a
Are you
9-minute
body
episode.
Are you body shaming me?
No, you're body shaming yourself.
She was hot. She was just misunderstood. Fuck. Give the lady a break. She had just gotten out of the tub.
Hey, that's all you, bro.
She didn't have her makeup on. She didn't have her hair did. Nothing, yo. Like, oh, fuck.
Still look better than me, though. Can't hate on that.
No, I think, I mean, I think once you start kind of like looking into The Shining, and I know there's like a special called like 227 or something like that. So there's all these other like interesting underlying things that the director was doing. And yeah, it's just kind of like, I feel like there's always something new to explore. But I don't feel like it's, I don't feel like it's something like Evil Dead, which I really love too, you know, or even something newer like Seder or the remake of Suspiria, which is both are really, really amazing. Have you seen the remake of Suspiria, guys?
No, we didn't have it recorded in the last episode, but I think the girls talked about it, Alex and Cass.
Yeah, it's super twisted. It's really good.
Yeah,
and they even have to go to like a scene where it's just kind of like black and white or monotone because it just gets super gory.
Oh man, we gotta watch that.
Yeah, it's really good.
You
and
know,
Seder was really cool because it's really kind of like more slow moving. And it's not really like super scary. It's just more creepy. So, you know, I always feel like there's different levels of, it's not, you know, you could say horror, but I saw Scream and that was cool, but predictable.
I'm looking around in your studio because you have your artwork everywhere. And I'm so used to seeing your artwork in the daytime, right? Because that's how you post your work.
Right.
But like I'm getting like this crazy Jeepers Creepers vibe from that one right over there. Like the eye.
Yeah.
We don't speak of Jeepers Creepers.
Why not Jeepers Creepers?
Actually, it's a really good movie, but then we found out that the director is a pedophile.
Oh, yeah. No, I can't say I'm a fan of it.
You don't like the first one?
No, I'm not really, I don't like monsters. I mean, I like the old school monsters, but
yeah,
the new school monsters, I just start to tear them apart too much. I'm like, how does this fool get a fucking license? Why is why does he got personalized plates?
Yeah, I agree.
And also, I'm always kind of surprised that people embrace Freddy Krueger so much because I'm like, wasn't that fool like a child murderer? Like,
yeah.
And everybody's like, Freddy.
I know,
yay.
right?
I'm like, what the fuck?
So who's your favorite like old school horror icon?
Michael Myers. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of like really, I think if you shoot me right now, I'll get back up. No problem.
I have a feeling too.
Yeah.
There's only one way to find out.
You guys got a gun? I don't have a gun.
I have a Glock in my purse.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Do I look like I'd have a Glock in my purse?
Probably. I don't know. I don't judge people by appearance.
You'll find out later.
Oh, shit.
Acting real hard with that flannel. Gangster ass
I
flannel
know.
on.
And then the beanie.
I know.
She's in the hood right now, so she's like.
She protects me.
Aww.
You always think I'm the one with the gun, but surprise, motherfucker. You go after one that looks strong, but then.
Oh. You look strong and I don't? Is that it?
Oh. Uh-oh.
It's mostly because I'm super meaty, you know, so.
Super needy?
That too, but I said meaty.
Oh, meaty.
Oh, my God. I want to put out a shirt that says meaty and needy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Don't fucking, anybody's fucking steals that out there, I'll fucking find you. And the homegirl will shoot you.
I'll shoot you.
With her Glock.
And I will be wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
That is actually good. You should tell your homie next door.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Right?
And it could be a show for a shirt for the podcast.
You see? Meaty and needy.
Maybe that's your names. Hi, I'm Meaty and I'm Needy.
And this is Scary Encounters. Brilliant.
I actually really like that.
Yeah,
I
think we should do it.
Yeah,
Okay,
we should
let's do
design it.
Let's do it. We'll design. I'll design it.
Okay.
Needy and Needy.
Done and done.
I want that sticker
I'm fucking excited about this.
Stickers, shirts.
God damn, I'm excited. I'm gonna
Pins.
jump out the fucking window right now.
Me too.
I'm so excited.
Okay, Quasi.
first.
Calm down, Quasi.
You first. You're just trying to get a free hot wax job. Or is it hot oil that he throws over? What does he throw?
Anyways. All right, we're vibing too hard over here.
You can't take me anywhere. So moving on.
Yes.
All right, VYAL. So we asked you 2 questions before this interview. Are you ready for number 1?
Yes.
All right. If you can bring any celebrity back from the dead for a day, who would it be and why?
I like doing that, by the way. Chuck from the band Death. I don't know if I could say his last name right. Schuldner. Chuck Schuldner. He's just an incredible musician, lyricist, and songwriter who, like, the music and a record in particular called Human really kind of had a lot of influence on me and my work and stuff. And I was always kind of attracted to a lot of like the more technical yet melodic death metal that they played, which was actually like super fast too. The record basically had changed the whole game. If you haven't heard it, if you can stand to listen to music that's like super heavy and organized chaos, that record, and from that record on, were really inspiring to me and to my work. Some of the stuff that I paint and some of the ideas that he left behind were really cool. But the earlier records that he did were like, you know, there's songs like Zombie Ritual, which is the name of my van.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. And that's, you know, a shout out to him. And I met him years and years and years ago in Germany, actually at a gig, and I got to meet him, and he was like, dude, what the fuck? You know, he found out I was from LA, and he was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing out here? And I was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm painting, you know. I was out there painting. And he was just super nice and super kind, and he passed from a brain tumor or cancers or whatever. But yeah, he was I would love to just, you know, it's so hard to say to bring them back for a day, right? Because like, you'd want them to be back forever.
Yeah. So what would you want to do with them for the day?
I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe that guy's not the one that I should be using. Maybe we should maybe we should bring back like Benny Hill or somebody.
What would you do with Benny Hill?
Slap him on the head.
Yeah. You went from like, aw, to real quick. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who else. I don't know. That's a good question. It's an interesting question.
Some people have said
daily.
Yeah, some people have said that. Some people want to like just chill with them, have lunch, coffee, go shopping.
You know, there's a lot of my favorite people that have passed celebrity, and I would not want to bring them back, because then you would have to face them leaving again, and that would be fucking shitty to have to leave them twice. Like, you already left them once. I don't want to leave them twice.
Damn, I never thought about that. That's so true.
Yeah, we've never had an answer like that before. That's a good one.
Never had an answer like that before. Yeah. That was deep. That made me feel some type of way. That was great. Thank you for sharing.
Go ahead and take off your shoes, girl.
I mean, shit. I'm going to take off my beanie, take my Glock out of my pants. Shit. Made me feel all kind of emotions. Thank you for answering that, though.
No worries.
That was great.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2. If you were on death row or on your deathbed, what would you choose as your last meal?
I answered this question before for somebody else, and it was really inappropriate.
I know it. Oh, my.
It's true. It's not a food at all. This is inappropriate. I hope the kids aren't listening.
Somebody get this guy some water.
Oh, wow. That was a thirsty.
This is a whole vibe right now. You're so crazy.
Yo, for reals though, like food,
Yeah.
maybe like Chicago deep dish or something like that.
Oh, dang.
Or a nice steak. Yeah, something. I don't know. What do you think?
How do you like your steak?
Rare.
Wow.
Yeah.
Steak sauce.
What kind of sides?
Oh man, this is getting crazy now. You guys are making me want to die. I'm looking forward to dying. I'm like, God damn, can I die tomorrow? This is delicious.
With that attitude, yeah. Okay, so steak, rare. Any sides with that?
No, I don't want to say steak now. No, you know what? I don't want to answer this question. No, I'm not going to answer it.
That'll do.
Wow.
Well, fuck. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, all right. Well,
Well,
thank
I
you.
mean, you could get like something from like each part of the world, right? To make like a whole plate up.
Whatever
so,
you
like,
want.
chicken katsu, and then like
Mhm.
a slice of pizza, and then like I don't know, like
Oh, wow. You're going hard now.
why not?
And what
Okay.
are you going to... Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I think John Wayne Gacy did something like that too. It's just like random things that he wanted to eat, including the last like, I think it was some of his chicken. Yeah, he owned his own chicken restaurant.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so he wanted some of that for part of his last meal, but he had all kinds of different things.
Yeah, I'm just scared to give any kind of a corporation a shout out. I shouldn't have said what I said a little while ago.
I'll bleep it out.
Okay. It would be cool if you just bleeped out everything I said that I wanted to eat.
It's just one big old beep.
Yeah, just beep. And then I'll take a side of beep
Yeah.
with a nice tall glass of beep.
Well, thanks for kind of answering the questions.
You're welcome.
I think it went well. So whenever you're ready, we're here
Okay.
for some spooky shit. I don't know which story you want to start with, but we're ready.
Oh, you know what? I want to start with this story that's like in my head. And I thought about it last night too, because I was driving back from Vegas with a friend of mine, and my friend we were talking about like UFOs and ghosts and all that stuff per usual. And one of the things was, she said, I want to see something paranormal. And I was like, well, be careful what you wish for, because, you know, that shit, if you put it out there, you might see it. And so we were driving, and the weird part about it is that it didn't feel paranormal at all. It was just real matter of fact, and it was real. It was clear as day. It was real obvious. I was driving, and I saw a white dog, which I thought was tied to a call box on the side of the road, and it was eating something. But it seemed really chill, like really calm, really not even tripping that it was like on the side of the highway coming back from Vegas. So I go, what the fuck's that? Like, look at that dog, right? So I pulled over and I started going in reverse to see if like I could get the dog. I don't know if somebody had just left it there, if it was abandoned or what. And we pulled up, and it was a dog eating another dog. So the other dog was already dead, and it was like beef jerky. Like, it just looked like all you saw were just teeth and bones and fur. And that other dog, you know, as we pulled up, the other dog looked and kind of took off up the hill. So we pull up and we see that it was another dog that it was eating. And then she went up like to try and see where the dog went, and the dog was gone. And it was the first time I ever experienced anything that was like that, where it felt paranormal, or it felt, you know, just super fucking creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was literally like this brown dog carcass. I thought it was kind of like symbolic too, like this bright white dog eating this other brown dog that had just been cooking there in the sun. And then we couldn't find the other dog, and there was like nothing around.
So it wasn't like a coyote.
No,
It was like,
it was a
okay.
white dog. It might have been eating a coyote,
Interesting.
but it was like a full furry like a furry, like well kept dog.
In the middle of nowhere? You said on the way
Yeah,
home?
on the way home on the 15 or whatever.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a trip.
What did your friend say?
Oh, well, she freaked out obviously,
Oh.
because she opened the door and saw the dog carcass there that the other dog was eating.
Oh,
So
man.
it was like a cannibal dog.
Yikes.
So who knows? Maybe it was a shapeshifter or something. I don't know.
Hey, you never know.
Never know.
Shapeshifters. We haven't talked about that yet on here, huh?
I don't think we can. I don't know. It has to be. Oh, it's still winter. You might be able to. I gotta ask. It's true.
What do you
You
mean?
can't. There's a certain time where you can't speak about them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
Okay.
deep.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then we won't.
Yeah.
We'll save that for another episode.
We'll save it for another one. Let us know when we can talk.
Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers.
Yeah, it's all native stuff. Native witchcraft.
Tell us more.
No, I'm not talking.
No.
I'm not
You're
gonna
the
be
one that brought
I'll
it
be
up.
responsible.
You brought it up.
I know. It's just different places, different rules for different places, different nations, different.
I see.
Yeah, so I can't speak on like some other beliefs
I
that
see.
aren't mine, you know?
Yeah.
Especially
Respect.
if I get it wrong. Yeah.
Out of respect. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So what else you got for us that we can't talk about?
I got something we can talk about. We
Okay.
can talk about I imagine it's a woman down the hall.
A what?
A woman?
A woman down the hall.
Yeah. She's
Okay.
well, there's a walkway. There's 2 stairwells, right? So you guys came up the first stairwell, but there's a stairwell behind, like towards the bathroom. So when you get up to go use the restroom, I'll show you the doorway if you need to use the restroom at any time. Behind that door is a crawl space to get up. Well, it's like a short stairwell with a little crawl space to get onto the roof. But then there's also like the stairs to go down, but it's really, really dark. There's never any lights on in there. Actually, my hallway too, coming to the studio, we have to have that light plugged in because the lights in the top, they don't stay on. They're always forever going out. For 5 years that I've been here, they've never stayed on. So I would say about like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, there was a person who was accessing the roof, and they were videotaping the building and the unbuilding of the bridge, right? So the deconstruction of the bridge, and they were time lapsing it. They went up to go and change the battery, and the door wouldn't open. So he's trying to like push it open, but it was pushing back at him. So he knew instantly like what it was, and he was like saying into like the atmosphere or whatever, like, I'm just gonna go change the battery. Like, I'm not gonna, I'll be really quick. Like, I'll be out really quick, and just let me take care of this. Which he did. He went upstairs and he changed the battery on the rooftop and stuff. And when he came down, he opened the door, and then the door just like slammed behind him. Right. And so this is, it being my studio, he came downstairs. I was in the car for some reason. He came downstairs. He's like, dude, you're not going to believe this shit. Fucking door. Like, I couldn't open it. It was pushing back against me. And then when I left, the door slammed against, on my back. And I was like, all right, fuck. Well, I got to go tomorrow to my studio, and I have to go deal with this. And I go, it's right by my fucking restroom, like, what the fuck? And, there's no lights there either. The lights constantly just getting shut off or sucked out, the energy of it, right? Which is a common thing in like the paranormal, right? Like with ghosts and stuff, they take from your energy source, right? Your battery or your light or whatever. So I come the next day trying to be Mr. Curandero, and I had some Palo Santo and some sage, and I brought everything with me, like, and I had some tobacco, and I was going to go make an offering, like, just to try and like smooth things out. So, because I didn't want to like have to deal with it, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want any of that negative, whatever that thing was pissed off about. I didn't want it to be pissed off at me. So I came, and the door wasn't shut, even though that night it had been shut. So it was like partially open. And I walked up to it, and I had all this stuff burning in this little like offering bowl that I have, ofrenda bowl. And, I started burning the sage and everything and blowing it in through the door, and I threw tobacco down just to, I don't know, going through the motions, of like, just trying to like
setting the intention. And
yeah, exactly. And just kind of like making peace. And the door just very politely closed in my face.
I remember you saying that in your messages, and I got a little giggle from that too.
Yeah, I always like saying very politely, because it was it really was. It was like really like.
In comparison to your friend's story with it slamming
exactly,
on him, right?
With it slamming. Yeah. Exactly. It was like some Jehovah's Witnesses like, sorry, nobody's here. Just close the door. And so what happened after is that I came to the studio, and I was obviously a little freaked out. And, it's funny because I don't think you're ever kind of ready for those experiences, no matter how much you surround yourself in that stuff. I think it's always a surprise when you do run into it. And so I came and I sat here, and I had a conversation in my head about the whole thing and how it wasn't my fault, and I wasn't the one that had to deal with it because I wasn't the one who disrupted it. Now, wherever that conversation somehow gave me like peace, right? And you could say that it was a conversation with the spirit, right? But it just happened inside of your head or inside of my head. So yeah, it's been pretty chill, but you can still feel, I imagine it was a her. I don't know why, but you could still feel her when you go to the restroom. When she's there, her eyes are on you, like not in the restroom, like she obviously gives you your privacy, but.
What kind of feeling do you get? Just like somebody's watching you, or?
I feel like a little tingle and like I'm in love.
Shut up. Serious?
No, it's definitely, no, it's just like one of those things where, you know, like whenever I feel it, it's like my ears will like, it feels like my ears are moving, you know, and you'll feel like the hair on the back of your neck stand up, you know, that type of stuff like that. You'll feel that.
Yeah.
And then if you just look from here, like down the hallway long enough, you'll see something walk past.
No way.
Yeah. It's an old building. And on the second floor, which I haven't experienced yet, but my friends that have the studio on the first floor, say that on the second floor around like 2-3 in the morning, you hear like kids running up and down the hallway.
Wow.
Kids' feet like stomping and stuff. So.
And you haven't heard that?
I haven't heard that. But and then on the first floor, you hear like whispering and stuff like that.
What floor are we on?
We're on the third floor.
Okay, so on the first floor, there's whispering. Second floor, there's kids
People,
running around.
people
and
running
third,
up and down
there's
hallways.
the lady in the
Right, and they
hallway.
could all very well be related, I think, possibly.
Oh.
Yeah. This is a really interesting neighborhood, and it used to be really violent in the 90s. There was a lot of violence in this neighborhood in the 90s with all the projects that were here before.
Have you ever done any research on the building?
I have not done any research on the building. I should do research on the building.
That'd be interesting. Just to see what lines up.
Yeah.
Maybe get some answers.
Do you ever feel or see anything in here in your studio?
Well, it's funny. If you go behind that wall there, like right now, you'll feel like darkness because there's no lights.
You fool. Damn you. We're all looking at the wall.
You know,
For real though.
no, you know where it always feels like something's watching me is like up there. Just up there in general, like that whole space, because that space, technically, if I threw a ball over it, it would land in the other studio. So it's just an open ceiling kind of thing. So there could be eyes on you there, but I like when they watch.
I mean, I feel like there's eyes all around
I'm
me
into
right
getting
now.
watched. That's why I paint so many eyes.
Right? Makes you feel better? Shit.
I paint a lot of eyes because I don't have any friends. So
Stop
there you
it.
go.
Now you have two. Me and Liz.
Yay.
He's all no.
This is like, don't be speaking for me. We have one mic.
Don't volunteer me. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, that's. I can totally see that from that area right there. It is kind of creepy.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what? I always feel like and I've told myself this a lot since I was younger, because I've always had a sensitivity to these kind of things. And I always realized early on that the spirit world is very much like this world, right? Like, and I always tell people, like, when they're freaking out about it, I'm always like, look, dude, check it out. It's like when you go to a mall, right? You go to a mall and there's people there and they're doing their own thing and they have their shit to buy and they have their, their errands to run or whatever. And in the spirit world, I feel like it's the same. Like they're around us all the time, but they have their shit to do. And sometimes you might have a run-in with them. I just haven't ran into like a Karen ghost, because that might suck, but like for the most part, like you're going to run into some static every now and then. And it's not the intention of any, it's nobody's fault. It's just how we exist in these two dimensions that we're in, I guess, Or it feels like sometimes, you might come into somebody else's space, which is the case here, So I just try and be as respectful as I can.
That's a really good way to look at it. So it's more like they are doing their own thing, but if they see that you're paying attention or they can communicate through you, that's when you start opening up your gifts, that's when you start kind of getting a little more static, as you said. You know, you just start experiencing a little more.
Yeah.
Which I feel I have been lately, but.
Oh, really?
Like a little more than usual.
Ever since I was a kid, I feel like was sensitive to stuff, you know, or I would stay in bed all night just like crying my eyes out because they were just surrounded by things.
For me, I always wanted to experience it.
Uh-huh.
And then when it finally happened, I was like, fuck. I was like, be careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with it too, you know, of like having to like navigate through it, right? You have to understand that like some of those things, like you might wake up the next day and be fucking super tired and you don't even know why. You know, you got to rest and sleep it off. And like, you know, I try and like, since I'm in a lot of spaces like this a lot, you know, I like, one of the things I like to do when I take road trips is like to find abandoned houses or abandoned buildings and go into them and paint. And in that, I'm putting myself directly in the line of fire sometimes, you know, of like coming into these people's space where it's just like, you know, those places, there's a lot of energy in them, you know. One of my friends who was a photographer, was with me documenting while I was painting, and you know, she was like, oh, I want to paint too. And I'm like, all right, cool, here's some paint, you know, and she's just fucking around doing her thing. And the sun started going down and it was a little bit windy, but at this particular spot, which I still go to every now and then, I was right by there yesterday too, and I didn't get to stop by, unfortunately, but you can hear chatter. You can hear people working because it was one time like a factory or something, right? So you can hear people working and you can hear chatter, and it's just like very kind of like matter of fact, like just blah, 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 like talking about whatever the fuck they're talking about. And she wasn't aware of it, but that day she was like, what'd you say? And I was like, I'm not saying anything. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she goes back to painting and she's like, what? And I'm like, dude, I go check it out. If it happens like a few more times, we need to leave because you're hearing what I always hear when I'm here, but now you're becoming aware of it. So like now we need to kind of like maybe just leave now. Like it's okay if we just take off. And it's in the Mojave Desert. So, you know, it's an interesting spot. And I like finding those places that are like that have like that echo of another time, you know, something that was going on there before. And then you come in and you do your thing. And I like to imagine that maybe they appreciate it, or maybe it's like a form of communication with the eyes, you know, like painting an eye there and just leaving it.
Yeah, I can see that. Like you're going into their space. And,
yeah.
I mean, obviously you're talented.
Oh,
so having your artwork in their space, they're like, okay, yeah. I like what you're doing.
This guy.
Tell them to come back and do the other wall, you know? Yeah. But if it's like someone that doesn't know what they're doing, they're like, get out, you know, or something.
If they don't like it, they're like, well, scare them out of here. Get out. Okay, it worked.
Dude, they remind me of like your eyeballs like a portal or something. You're creating a portal in these abandoned places.
Yeah, they kind of are inspired by that. They're inspired by the a number of things, but one of the things is the middle of the Olin, which is like what's supposed to represent galaxies. So they're a representation of that. But also, like I also paint bubbles within the pieces, like in the landscape and stuff. And the bubble to me is really interesting to kind of paint, because if you look at a bubble, it's got so many layers of color and design and a lot of organic movement within it. And it's just something that as a kid, you're like super like enthralled by, right? And even as an adult, like I'm like, oh, bubbles are fucking sick. And if you think about it, it's like a breath of life inside of this like very delicate material, right? Like, or whatever you want to say.
Some sort of inside of an element.
Yeah, and it's water, right? Surrounded by air, like by your breath, and it's like gonna last for maybe like a few seconds, but it's gonna be one of like the most amazing things you've seen, and it's gonna pop, and then that's it. And so like for me, painting bubbles in my pieces was like representing like life, right? Like life is like so quick, you know, it comes and goes, and it's beautiful, and it's amazing. It's all these things, and then boom, it's gone. Yeah.
Dude, you are blowing my mind right now. I was just sitting here looking at you and listening, and you describing something as simple as a bubble, but making it so intricate and like beautiful and deep. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right.
No shit, huh?
Bubbles are like life, delicate, and they're beautiful, and then they pop, and then that's it. Dude, you got me tripping out right now.
Welcome
I
to
feel like
the world.
I feel like I'm high, and I'm not.
Welcome to the world of overthinking everything.
No, that's beautiful though. If that's your overthinking, that's beautiful. I feel like there's different phases of overthinking, and I think you're in a beautiful phase.
Oh, right on. Thank you.
Yeah.
I always feel like the eyes that I paint, the expression in them is just I try and at least get a feeling of contentment from them. So they're not overly excited. They're not, wide open. They're not bugged out. They're not closed. They're just content in where they're at.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now, and they all do have that content. I don't know what other type of expression I can explain. Let's see. Kind of just mysterious, like you're trying to figure out what they're feeling. I'm getting lost in this.
So yeah, I'm looking at your artwork right now, and it has like this alien vibe. Like it's almost like, yeah, definitely another dimension, but like awakening almost type of vibe, like a third eye even, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I think it gets really tricky when you start talking about third eye and that experience, because everybody, although it's, of course written somewhere, but I imagine that a medicine man or somebody that has their third eye open, or somebody who's written that down, I imagine that they've taken years to get to that point. So like, you run into people, I run into people sometimes, and they're recreational drug users or whatever, and they're like, dude, it's like my third eye, bro. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, who's to say? I don't know. Probably, maybe not. Who knows?
Well, maybe that's their own way of opening up.
But yeah,
everybody has their own process, right?
Yeah. And it was just, the thing about it was like, I was trying to be like more accessible, I guess you could say, as far as like the images I was putting up within the city, right? Because we're dealing with like, being quote unquote Chicano or having that background, you deal with those imagery, right? That imagery, like fucking Zapata, or like, an brown eagle, or the things that are very like obviously Chicano. But I didn't want for what I did to be obviously Chicano. And one of my inspirations, Willie Heron, although he did do a lot of that type of work, his work wasn't obviously Chicano, I think, a lot of times. So, yeah.
Well, you're doing great. That looks amazing.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Thank you. My heart. I don't know what's going on.
Liz mentioned that they remind her of like alien, extraterrestrial type. I heard you have some alien stories for us.
Yeah, I keep seeing fucking aliens, man. I keep seeing UFOs.
You sound
There's
upset.
2 aliens across from me right now on the couch.
So where are you seeing them? What's going on?
So I've seen, when we were kids, we were running around the neighborhood that I grew up in, and all of a sudden this huge fucking like orb, right? And there's old like video game, and this old not video game, it was like a Rubik's Cube type game, and it was called Orby or something like that, and it was like gray with like lights around the middle and stuff, and that's the way this thing was shaped. It was like silver or gray. It was a big ball, and it was just floating over the hills, but it didn't make any sound, or it barely made any sound, and these lights were just going around in circles. And me and my homies were kids. We're like, yo, what the fuck was that? Right? The neighborhood I grew up in was very kind of like mystical in a sense, I kind of wonder what was going on there before, because we all have stories of duendes and UFOs and all that shit in that area forever. And they say that sometimes you're abducted and you don't know it, right? I don't know that happened, because we all still remember it, and we all still know exactly where we were, and we saw it come and go, and it was just as fucking clear as day. But like almost no sound,
Did you notice any like loss of time and during that moment? Like, was it like all of a sudden an hour later or something?
You know what? No, none of that. But one time I did see like me, my mom, and an ex of mine saw like at least 20 dancing red lights like above the Air Force Base up north. And I thought they were still, like I thought they were just standing still, but then my mom was sitting in the chair and she like held her head. She goes, no, they're moving. So I sat in the chair and then they were like dancing around. But nothing other than that happened, where they were just dancing, like really radical movements.
I have a similar story like that. I also saw about 20 red lights over my city. It's cool to hear that somebody else saw the same thing.
Yeah. The other one is the silver orbs too, right? The orbs that you can see during the day. I saw one more recently too, and those are the ones that I see often. Or the one was where they tried to say it was a fucking a Mylar balloon, and I'm like, it wasn't a Mylar balloon. It's so high, it's just so still, and it's not going anywhere. And I know more than one person that has seen them too in downtown LA, where they're just reflective of whatever's going on because they're chrome, so you can't really see them, but they move kind of like in the way that predator moves through the jungle when he's camouflaged. And I always try to stop and look at the sky. I always take time to stop and just look at the sky, because I think of our ancestors, and I think of like how we're all like with our faces in the phone all the time, or watching TV. And so I'll intentionally like take my shoes off, walk on the grass to ground myself, and like look at the sky for like, I think my neighbors probably think I'm a fucking freak, but I'll just stand and just stare at like, you know, the stars and zone out on them. And I don't know.
I think that's why they come to you. Because
so?
I feel like if people, like you said, people are stuck on their phones, technology, all that bullshit. I feel like if people just pay attention for once and really appreciate what's above us, they'll see it too.
Yeah.
But I feel like people are scared, you know, because the media and the government and everybody makes it scary to where, you know, but I don't know.
I also like that you mentioned the grounding, taking your shoes off. And
Yeah, it's something that we don't do enough. A lot of people don't do it enough, I think. You know, it's something so simple, you know?
So simple.
So simple.
It's
so simple.
So simple.
is it so simple?
But is it so simple?
It's so simple.
I mean, if it was so simple, everyone would already be doing
but
it.
no, I think that's what's interesting about like people that live in like urban areas, like city life, right? Like people that live in lofts and stuff like that. Like you're paying, you know, whatever you're paying, and you're working, and you're constantly working, and you're constantly on concrete, and there's rarely a chance where you could just kick your shoes off and go step in some grass, you know. I'm sure the people that live in those lofts that are in touch do make the time to like stop and go to the park and put their feet in the water or on the grass or whatever. But there's a majority of people there that aren't doing that, I'm sure. And I'm sure that's how they get locked into like just being fucking on that path of like working and just, you know, like those
Like not getting in touch with Gaia.
Yeah.
Losing touch.
Losing touch with Gaia, you said? Yeah, we're always given advice to always go out and be in nature and just appreciate the earth on your bare feet and all that good stuff. And it's like, I personally don't like the sun. I'm a vampire. But but when I was given this advice, I was like, you know what? All right. And we went on a hike, and it was like really beautiful. And I realized like, fuck, okay, I needed this. Like, I don't know. It's just such a simple thing that we can all do that we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, even I mean, I've learned to just enjoy even my walk up into our house, and just, you know, just appreciating all the trees around, all the crows flying around, the sun, the moon, even out during the day, the stars, just hearing the birds chirping. Like, I used to just, okay, I need to walk up my driveway and go inside my house and do whatever I got to do, right? Get dinner started. But like for every day for a while now, I do the same thing. I'm just walking by like, oh man, this feels good. It looks beautiful out here. Just appreciating all the colors and everything that's going on, and especially being off work.
The other thing I find interesting too is like the trees that have the eyes in the trees, right? So we all see those trees, and I guess when you cut off a branch, the scar kind of leaves behind as an eye, right? So I always feel like like it's tree, like the tree, since it can no longer feel because you cut its limb off.
Yeah.
Now it can at least see from that limb that it used to be able to feel or touch with.
I've always been obsessed with trees since I was a kid.
There's things where I know I'm capable of doing, and I kind of avoid them for a purpose. And one of the things one time is I sat with this big tree that was across from where I grew up, and I just super zoned out on it. Like I super focused on it, and I started to in this like process, I started to understand or realize that the leaves from the tree weren't moving because of the wind. They were moving because they were vibrating from the body of the tree, because the tree was giving off so much energy, and it was so huge and so old. And it was the tree itself, while I was having this epiphany or whatever that's happening, possession by a tree, the tree itself started glowing, started getting brighter, the body of the tree, and the leaves, as the like the normal thought process is that the leaves are blowing in the wind, right? Shimmering or whatever. But no, in this case, they were vibrating, and the tree was glowing. And then my eyes became transfixed on this tree, and I could feel like my pupils like zzz, zzz, like they literally made that sound like zzz, like we're zoning in and out. And I was like finding myself like just getting sucked into this tree in a way, and everything else was like kind of dark around it.
Wow.
And then I just like snapped out of it.
Dude, you're gifted as fuck. Right, Liz? I mean, damn. I feel like this is a good opportunity to tell people listening, like, go outside and just look up.
Yeah, I mean, if you want those experiences, they're around us all the time. It's just you got to like, some people don't want them, but Liz, she wants them. So she's going to go look for them. But, and if you get back to nature, then you start thinking about like old school things, and you start thinking about like what was here before us, and, forests, or there's traces of it in the trees, or there's traces of it in the land. And if you start to speak to it, or you start to talk to it, you start to touch it, it'll respond. The other thing that we have a lot of was duendes, right? A lot of experiences with duendes. And, for people that don't speak Spanish, it's like basically like fairies or gnomes, right? And the first experience I had with gnomes, or a gnome, was when we went to an old homie's house who had moved out. So the house was abandoned, and it was myself and a couple of the other dudes that had experienced that UFO with us. But then another guy that lived up the street from us, his name was Greg, and they were more like party dudes. They didn't really hang out and be nerds with us, but every now and then they would hang out and be nerds. And so we went into this house, and we saw, it was really warm in the house. It was wintertime, but inside the house it was really warm, almost like there was a heater on, but there was no heat going on because everything was turned off. And we started exploring the house and just going through it and seeing all this, like the remnants of my friend, from when he lived there, and all the stuff they left behind or whatever. And then we got into the like den area of the house, and there was a sliding glass door with like moonlight coming through it. And we saw this like figure trying to jump for the handle of the door to get out. Almost like we walked in on him being in there, and he was trying to get away from us. But we, he must have been about like not maybe a foot tall, and he couldn't quite reach it, and he was a little chubby, right? So he was trying to jump up and get it. And then we saw him, and we all started screaming, and we fucking ran out of the house like, holy shit. And we probably scared the fuck out of whatever it was. But that instant of him trying to jump up and reach that thing was so comical in a sense, and like so like animated, that we just couldn't fucking believe that there was this little man there trying to get this goddamn fucking door open and trying to probably get away from us because we're all in there all, stinky teenagers like.
Was he wearing anything?
You couldn't tell if he was wearing anything because it was like a silhouette. Oh. And the only thing I can compare him to, in a sense, was like a raccoon. But He wasn't a raccoon because he didn't have a big tail or anything like that. And it looked like he might have had a hat of some sort.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No, you don't like that one? He's a little taller than you, actually.
mean-
Maybe.
Was it me? Little and silhouette and chubby?
And a beanie.
And a beanie. There it is.
All right. We figured that out.
Debunked.
Debunked.
Stop terrorizing our friend's cat.
But yeah, that whole like UFO thing and alien thing, and I have this thing about mirrors too. If you notice, like I don't have a mirror in here. I have a mirror, kind of something reflective on the wall, but it's not intentionally a mirror. And that's because when I was younger, I used to have like these mirrored sliding glass doors, and I was in a state of what is called sleep paralysis. And I remember having the blanket just up under my nose, right over my nose, and my eyes were closed. And I could see a light coming from the mirror, the sliding glass door mirrors. And I was like, what the fuck? But I was just basically peeking out because I was scared as shit. And sure enough, this little fucking thing comes out. And it was white, and it had big black eyes. And it fucking walked right up to my bed, you know? And I was like, oh, shit. Like, what the fuck is this, you know? So, again, the sleep paralysis thing, right? I didn't know if I felt like I was dreaming, but I knew I wasn't dreaming, but I just couldn't wake up. And I wasn't trying to wake up. I was just trying to let this thing do whatever it was going to do, and I wanted to witness it. So I walked up to my bed, and I must have been about like 10 or 11, something like that, or maybe a little bit older. And this thing walks up to my bed, and it kind of resembled Smeagol in a sense, but he didn't look as tattered. He was a little more like upkept, right?
He's a little cuter.
Yeah, he had done his, he checked his compact and stuff before he came through the mirror.
Oh, that's nice.
But his eyes were very black. So this little fucking thing comes up, and it decides to touch my foot first, right? And I'm just kind of like laying there, but I could feel like myself like shaking, like what the fuck. And he looks back down at he looks up to me to see if I'm looking, and I keep my eyes like I'm peeking out, just barely open. The blanket's up to my face, and I'm looking, and he touches my foot, and then he looks up at me really quickly, and I don't move, and then he looks back down at me, and he starts going up my leg, and then he stops about like my calf, all right? And I'm like, okay, motherfucker, like, what are you doing, So then he starts going up more, like, to my kneecap. And now I'm, like, starting to feel, like, weird, right?
Uneasy.
Like, I'm like, so then he, like, brings his fucking hand up, like, to my inner thigh. And that's when I, like, just kicked out. Like, I just kicked out and woke up. Like, I kicked out of my dream. I kicked out of that sleep paralysis stage that I was in, whatever it was. And there was, obviously there was nothing there, but there was a little bit of light from the fucking mirror.
Wow, that's it's very rare to hear that somebody is in control where they can just wake up from their or sleep paralysis. For the most part, I usually hear like, people suffer through it throughout the whole night, or they'll just end up going into a different dream. Mm-hmm. But to be able to be mentally strong enough to get out of it is pretty fucking cool. I've never experienced it myself, but I couldn't even imagine. Sounds terrifying.
What's crazy is that I had a sleep paralysis like later on in life, and I remember that one a lot. And ever since then, I never had them again. And in it, I allowed whatever it was in the room to do its thing. And I stopped fighting. I didn't try to wake up. I just went to sleep. And it was huge. Whatever the thing was huge, because I remember having the windows open because it was summertime. And I remember feeling this presence come in. And I could feel it. Its mass, its size was so big that I could no longer hear what was happening outside because it took up all that space.
Wow.
Right? And so when something that big approaches you, and you can feel it like up to your face, like face to face with it. And you could feel its mass like all around you, but it's not on you, but it's there and it's making itself known. I just said, do whatever you got to do. And I just went to sleep. And after that, I never experienced it again.
Wow. I wonder what he did. Like, what was it that you gave him permission to do? And also, or was
Dare I say enter my soul? No.
I hope not. Let's do a limpieza right after. I'm just kidding. But there's that part of it. Or maybe he was just like, I can't scare this guy. I'm over it. I'm gonna go to another.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that fear or you know, them trying to scare us, I don't think that's an intention. I think it's just something that we put in ourselves as humans. Like, we become scared of it. But my rationalizing with it, or how I've rationalized it since then, and sleep paralysis in general since then, and I don't know if this is like I read this anywhere, if I just made it up or whatever, but it totally makes sense to me when I started looking at it this way. Is I was like, as humans in this day and age, we have access to so many things that are stimuli, right? Mentally, right? We have all this mental stimulation all fucking day. And there's this evolution of technology that's come so quick in the last 100 years. And now we have fucking computers in our pockets. And, you know, somebody was saying like, oh, you remember when my teacher would say that you're never going to have a calculator on you all the time. And, you know, now we have full on computers in our pockets. So the evolution of technology has happened. It's coming, and it's coming on stronger. And now we got the metaverse and all this other crazy shit that people are talking about. And even in the art world, the NFTs and stuff like that. But the one thing that hasn't changed is our physical makeup, is our bodies, right? We haven't evolved as humans, as people. We may be understanding more, and mentally we may be evolving, but physically we're still flesh, we're still blood, we're still bone. So just because our mind wakes up and wants to fucking move doesn't mean your body's going to be like, sorry, it's not connecting. Just like that microphone today, it just wasn't connecting. And I think when you start to look at sleep paralysis in that way and take the scary away, take the demon away, take the fucking monsters out of the fucking equation, it becomes very like easy to deal with. And you become very rational when you're like, I'm just fucking tired and I just need to go back to sleep. And this kukui or this demon or whatever the fucking have at it, bro. I'm going to sleep. I'm leaving the party.
That's crazy.
And again, like, I don't know if I read that somewhere or where that came from or whatever, but you know, it helps me with it.
Well, that's definitely a pretty cool perspective. That's a good way to look at things. And maybe this will help somebody else with sleep paralysis that's listening. Maybe, you know, I have a coworker, I got to tell him about this episode, but he suffers from sleep paralysis a lot. Mm-hmm. There's times where he will be on lunch and he's like, oh man, I almost didn't wake up right now. Like, I couldn't wake up.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it helped you, I mean, it'd be worth a shot.
I mean, it you know, belief is a big thing too, right? So if you believe that these things are coming at you and you believe that you have fucking demons that are kind of trying to get you, then they're going to be demons that are trying to get you. It's almost like Jacob's Ladder, right? Which is another one of my favorite horror movies. Is like that he tells that dude, he's like, if you believe that they're demons, they're going to tear your life apart. But if you imagine that they're angels, they're just setting you free from this earth. And you know, I don't really like to subscribe to like the idea of angels and devils or demons and stuff like that. I just think that there's different levels of energy that some we get along with and some we don't, you know, just like people, we don't get along with everybody. Not everybody's going to like you. Not all energy is going to feel positive.
Yeah. There's good and evil. There's like light and dark.
Yeah.
You have everything.
And everything in between.
Everything. And there's gray. You know,
there's a whole bunch of shades of gray. There's 50 shades of gray.
There's 50 actually. Yes. I'm glad you know that.
The building across the way, that one on the second floor is super haunted. And that one has like, we would paint in there, right? So we paint the walls in there. And the third floor was cool. The first floor was whatever. But the second floor, everybody agreed. Like everybody that painted there was like, nah, dude, like I fucking heard something or I saw somebody and I was like, what's up, fool? And it was like, nobody was there.
What's up, fool?
By the way, that's the way that you have to communicate with ghosts. Is like, what's up, fool?
Yeah.
And they,
Been there.
yeah.
Hey, bro, stop it.
What's up, dog?
There's something I do have to say. While we were walking up the flights of stairs, I was feeling a little eerie, a little bit, I don't want to say uncomfortable because that's a little much, but just a little off. But right when we came in here, I felt better. I feel like the energy in this studio is like really, it's dark, but it's light. You know what I mean? I feel like that has a lot to do with you, obviously, and your intentions and your thoughts. And if I feel like you have really good energy, really good vibes. And once that door opens, though, it's a little bit eerie out there.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit different.
But
it's a bit different out there.
But
The elevator is really interesting. Too
Oh,
bad the key
no.
for the elevator is in here because we would have taken
Ooh.
the freight elevator.
I'm
out.
down to go on the elevator because you know what? I was tired coming up them stairs.
Going down's a lot easier.
You're right. You're right.
Oh,
You're right.
wait. What?
Hey.
Whoa.
Oh, man. This has been really fun. It's been really cool. I think we vibed right off the bat. And we want to thank you for making time to do this today.
Oh, right on. Thank
For
you.
sharing all these great stories. I think this is so much fun to just sit back and listen to you speak because you definitely have a lot of great perspectives, great advice, like the whole grounding thing. It was fun.
Yeah, and we want to thank you for inviting us into your space too.
You guys are leaving already?
I mean, I love when people say that. I mean,
I have snacks.
okay then. What's up? You waited an hour to give us snacks? What the fuck?
Well, she was supposed to bring snacks, dude. She was like, "What are your favorite snacks?" And I was like,
Dang. What are your favorite?
You never told me any snacks. I asked you like 3 times and you just kept
I said,
ignoring
"Surprise me," didn't I? I was like,
me. No.
"Oh,
The hell?
fuck."
Stop lying to my people.
Anything with dark chocolate, because darkness, dark,
Well,
darkness.
we don't have that. Sorry. VYAL, thank you so much for everything. Thank you
you.
for sharing your encounters, your
Thank you.
perspectives, your stories, and your space with us. Until
How did
next
all these
time,
people
dear.
get here?
I know. What the fuck? Get the fuck out of here. Is that the chattering you were talking about?
Yeah.
Ah. All right. Well,
All right.
tune in next Thursday for some more.
Scary stories and cheese, man.
This episode of Scary Encounters is brought to you by
Anchor. Podcasting made easy. Anchor.fm.
Mortis Vivendi, the last authentic music brand dedicated to helping musicians and promoting music. MortisVivendi.com.
HJ Tidy. Night Terror Publishing. Step into the bizarre world of HJ Tidy, who is committed to introducing his readers to some of the most unusual, darker variety of true stories. NightTerrorPub.com.
Sayasha Gianna, cosmic shaman, psychic medium, multidimensional healer, animal whisperer, teacher of empaths, healers, and starseeds. Are your encounters hitting too close to home? Contact Sayasha Gianna. Patreon.com/Sayasha.
Voided. Spooky artist who offers hand-painted, one-of-a-kind items, spooky pins, prints, stickers, and more. Lost in a void of what is dead. Voided.com.